Shalom, everyone. This is Amir Tsarfati. I'm live from Miami, Florida. Internet here is not great. I thought it is, but it's not. And it froze my system here. But I wanted to share with you a few very disturbing things that happened over the last few days. And I couldn't report them because I couldn't get any clearance, and more so is because I was very busy traveling. I started in California and then in Texas, continued to Tennessee, and then I'm finally here in Miami, Florida. So we're going to start with this. Few days ago, we learned that something very unusual is happening on the border between Iran and Iraq. The Iraqis and the Iranians started evacuating people from civilian villages and towns. We watched unprecedented flow of Iranian forces into Iraq, to the point that the U.S. State Department announced today that it is intending to evacuate all U.S. diplomats from Iraq. Ladies and gentlemen, something is going on. Iran is moving forces. Iran is flexing its muscles. And America has been watching that for the last few weeks. And this is exactly why B-52s are now moved all the way to the U.S. base El Udeid in Qatar, where 10,000 troops are there. We are talking about more stealth fighters, the F-35s, also in that area. We have in Dubai also thousands of U.S. troops. We've got in Bahrain thousands of U.S. troops, 15,000 here, 10,000 here, 5,000 there. And of course, U.S. carriers are in the area as well. For the first time, U.S. members of the Space Corps were actually brought all the way to Qatar. And the Qataris themselves thought this is very unusual. The United States says it's to connect all the forces that it has in the region, and it also to strengthen the ties between the countries. But there is so much behind the scenes that we are not aware of that is happening right now. And the big question is, are we going to see some sort of Iranian attempt to do something stupid before the elections in America in order to embarrass the US president weeks before or days before the elections? One thing for sure, knowing the US president, he's not gonna be afraid to do what he needs to do. But ladies and gentlemen, Iran may not be even able to wait until the elections. In fact, the only thing that keeps them alive right now is the hope that Donald Trump is going to lose or will lose the elections. And let me explain why. It starts with the crashing of the Iranian currency. Ladies and gentlemen, in 1979, it was 70 rials for $1 US. And from that moment on, the Ayatollahs and the revolution, look what they did to their own people. It started crashing. It was in 2009, 30,000. 2015, 160,000. Ladies and gentlemen, as of now, it's almost 300,000 rials for $1 US. 300,000 rial for $1 US. Their economy is crashing. They are standing in line for propane gas to be able to take to cook at home. They don't have enough fuel for their cars. You should see pictures of taxis in Iranian cities in long lines. Some of them go on their knees and thank God for making it to fill gasoline over there. This is a country that exports fuel and gas and oil to the world. We're talking about, at the same time that all of that is happening, Iran is purchasing and is developing new cruise missiles. They just unveiled one of 700 to 900 kilometers range. New drones that now they have a problem because the German engine manufacturer decided not to sell those engines anymore because they realized that the Iranians are using it for military suicide missions, as they did in Saudi Arabia in Aramco oil refineries over there just about a year and a half ago. And so we are talking about one thing after the other the Iranians are now suffering from. Listen, the withdrawal of America from the Iran deal and the killing of Soleimani were the two most painful things that happened to Iran. And then, of course, you can see there's more things that are happening. The militias that Iran has right now in Lebanon, Hezbollah is standing on the way for Lebanon to have a new government. It's weak, and it's being held as the problem of Lebanon, not only by the Lebanese, but by the international community. That's in Lebanon. In Syria, they are being attacked by ISIS, which is no longer having a territorial caliphate. Thank God, and thank Donald Trump. But also, they are now a guerrilla terrorist organization that is mostly attacking the Iranian militias in Syria. In Iraq, they have a lot of problems between the Iraqi Shiites that don't like the Iranian Shiites. In Yemen, there's no more cash left, and there is stagnation over there. Nothing moves forward. And of course, we all know that there is a great confusion in the leadership of Iran itself right now. Apart from that, the coronavirus numbers that the Iranians say and what we know from the Iranian opposition in Europe are two different things. Apparently, from what we understand, in the numbers that the opposition is receiving from hospitals are 5 times what Iran is actually reporting. It's over 120,000 people that have died already. In fact, I do have the exact number. And so we're talking about some major things that are happening over there. One thing after the other. The Iranians are suffering. Look, the Iranians for the longest time thought that the Arabs are stupid. Excuse me for my language, but they thought we're the Persians. I'm not talking about the people. I'm talking about the leadership. They thought we are the Persians. We're smart. We understand that the Arabs will never have peace with Israel because of the Palestinians. So that's great. They never in their wildest dreams calculated a scenario where Israel will have peace with the Gulf states and soon with Saudi Arabia and maybe other countries. They were shocked. This is, by the way, one of the main reasons why Prime Minister Netanyahu kept that in secret and didn't even tell to his own cabinet members. He did not want the Iranians to somehow get the information and sabotage this whole thing. Right now, instead of Iranians listening to what's going on in Israel from the Syrian border, Israel can listen to what's going on in Iran from the Bahraini and the Emirati border, which is very, very close over there. They understand that Israel is not only going to help the Emirates and the Bahrainis, but Israel will also have military presence there. Eyes and ears, maybe even our submarines will be able to reach that area not long from now. Ladies and gentlemen, the Iranians also understand that the situation right now will lead to Israel's becoming stronger and more prosperous. We're talking now about having the Saudi oil going all the way from Saudi into Israel and through that pipe from Eilat to Ashkelon to Europe. And then, of course, the new pipe that we put under the Mediterranean, in the bottom of the Mediterranean, to take it all the way there. What is going on right now is unheard of for the Iranians, and they don't know what to do now. They are weighing their options at the moment. Why? because they would love to avoid confrontation right now if they only knew that the Democrats will win and Biden will bring the Iran deal back on the table. This is what they bank on. However, the Iranians are watching television. The Iranians are watching the rallies. They're watching President Trump's support in the public. They understand. They look at Joe Biden and the way he talks. They look at everything that the Democrats are doing. They look at the Supreme Court. That they see one defeat after the other of President Trump over the Democrats, and they understand that they are in big problem. And right now, they try to weigh their options. Are we going to do something that will embarrass the United States of America and may even cause Trump to look bad right before the election? Or we're going to take the chance that he might be elected. And if he will be elected, their options are only either to go to a better deal for America or to have the regime collapsing. Make no mistake, if you understand the Iranian mindset, for them, the option of the Shiite Ayatollahs to disappear is not an option. They will actually, they will commit suicide and destroy their whole country and the entire Middle East before they will allow that to happen. By the way, this is why I believe it will require a intervention from heaven for God to destroy them in the Ezekiel invasion, because they are that radical and they want to do that. Now that's pretty amazing what we are talking about here. Let me also tell you of more things that are happening right now with Iran. So again, we're talking about Iran penetrating into the deepest places in Iraq. We're talking about the central bank. We're talking about the military. We're talking about the police. And it seems like the prime minister of Iraq has kind of lost control of what's going on in his own country right now. And this is what America is watching. You know, I'm watching American helicopters landing in the U.S. embassy, shooting flares, just because the U.S. embassy in the green zone in Baghdad is a target almost on daily basis. And you've got to understand that, folks. Now, regarding the coronavirus, we're talking about 109,300 that are being reported by the opposition, and versus less than 40,000 that the Iranian authorities are saying. And so they're suffering. They're suffering from health issues. They're suffering from an economy that is broken. They're suffering from their military maneuvers are not doing well. They're suffering from old equipment. They're suffering from, even as I said, Germany, the German company that was making the engines for their drones, decided not to sell engines anymore. Why? Because they were exposed to sell, engines to Iran for suicide missions. Ladies and gentlemen, we found out that they used to smuggle those engines all the way to Oman, and from Oman via Mombasa, Kenya, to the Yemenites, and from there they would be attached to a drone and be used to attack Saudi Arabia and other places. So, and we also, the German secret services uncovered another company that was actually smuggling those engines through Athens, Greece, believe it or not. So we're talking about a major effort of the Iranians right now to somehow create something big in the Middle East in order to embarrass President Trump, to embarrass the Israelis, to embarrass all the countries around. And the United States military is on its highest alert. From what I understand also, the Marines were given a command to be prepared to be flown all the way to northeastern Syria. And because that's where the U.S. forces are located right now. They've been pulled out of Iraq to northeastern Syria. This is quite an amazing thing to see that is going on over there right now in Iraq. You need to understand, folks, the Iranian people, they are no longer able to somehow come up and go to the streets, because the last time it happened, over 1,500 youngsters were shot to death. And the others that were captured and tortured, and I have pictures, trust me, I don't want to show you, pictures of how they torture them. In fact, they bring them to a point where they're vegetables. And then they release the footage to the people, so the people will not dare to think of going out to the streets again. We're talking about cruelty that only dictatorships can do. There is no law, there is no order, there is no international community that is holding them responsible. You know, the Human Rights Council of the UN is not even talking about anything that is going on in Iran. If Israel will do, I don't know, will move a plant from a Palestinian balcony to another place, we will be condemned already. The Iranian regime is torturing its own people. They are unable to go out to the streets right now. The orders are shoot in order to kill. That's what we have there. They understand that there is going to be an uprising as people are becoming hungry. I have videos here. Now, again, I'm speaking now to my phone and not to the computer. Something is wrong. I'm not sure what. But I'm going to tell you something. I've seen videos. I wanted to show you videos of Iranians that they're going to the garbage, big containers of garbage, and they don't collect food from the garbage. They eat from the garbage directly. They don't even take it home. They just eat. That's how much some of them are hungry. So we're talking about a terrible situation that the Iranian regime is trying to hide. They're boasting with new planes and new aircrafts and new missiles and new this and new that every other day, because this is their way to cover up of what is happening in their own country for their own people. And as I say, the long arms of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard are now in Iraq itself. America is pulling out, and something is cooking over there. I've never seen that many U.S. forces that are ready in that area since, I guess, the Iraq War, that time after 9/11. So we're talking about something big, and you must understand, it is something that is happening not only to Iran. Turkey right now is suffering from a great depression in its economy. The Turkish lira is now over 8.3, I think. It was 3 when Erdogan assumed power. So you see those dictators, all they do is they want to become empires, they want to become military giants, but they are actually sucking the blood and all the resources of their own country, and the country is falling apart. And in order to cover up and in order to get more resources, they have to expand. They have to send their arms to Syria and to Libya and to Iraq. And right now, an old new conflict in Europe has been rekindled. And I'm talking about Azerbaijan and Armenia. Azerbaijan, next to the Caspian Sea, and Armenia, closer more to the Black Sea. They are neighbors. They are in the Caucasus. They were below Russia, above Turkey. They've been fighting forever. Azerbaijan is predominantly Muslim. Armenia is predominantly Christian. And within Azerbaijan, there is an enclave called Nagorno-Karabakh. That enclave has an Armenian majority of people. The world recognized that Nagorno-Karabakh as Azerbaijani area. However, there was an uprising there, and they declared themselves as an independent territory. What seems to have happened, and in my very humble way of analyzing the Middle East event, I believe that in light of all that is going on right now, I believe that in light of COVID, in light of the weakness of some countries around, and in light of the Turkish assumption of being the leader of the Muslim world, at least that's what they want to be, I believe the Turks pushed the Azerbaijanis to start attacking Nagorno-Karabakh. I believe Armenia retaliated, and now the Azerbaijanis are saying that they have been attacked, so they are attacking back. And this old thing that goes all the way back to almost 100 years now has been rekindled right now. And make no mistake, the Iranians, the Russians, and the Turks are part of this whole package. You see, Ezekiel 38 is much more than just presence of Russia in Syria. We are talking about a large-scale conflict in that region. And it's very interesting because I believe that everyone in the Middle East, whether it's the Iranians or the Saudis, the Israelis even, and the others, they're all waiting to see who is going to sit in the Oval Office after in January of 2021. Make no mistake, for the good people in the Middle East, President Trump is what they want. For the bad guys, President Trump is bad news. And make no mistake, the Iranians that's their only hope left. They have no hope left at all. Nothing. And it seems to me that someone also from Washington is giving some advices to the Iranian regime regarding what they may need to do in order to embarrass the president. We've seen that before in the Iranian deal. We've seen that, we're watching it right now, and it's quite fascinating to see all of this, folks. Now, if that's not enough, there is a growing tension right now between the Palestinians and Egypt. The Palestinians never miss an opportunity to miss an opportunity. We already know that. Their Arab neighbor from Gaza, Egypt, they're now blaming Egypt for killing several fishermen who, by the way, crossed into the Egyptian territorial waters as they were fishing. And so now the Palestinians are angry. And Egypt is angry with the Palestinians for other reasons. There is a new axis of evil that is now growing. It is led by Qatari money. It is with Turkey. It is with Hamas and of course, the Muslim Brotherhood. All of them together. And what we see is that Iran is also taking part of this whole thing. Ladies and gentlemen, we are watching in the Middle East alliances that we never look. Only if you're a Bible believer, you would agree that it makes sense. Everybody right now, I'm talking about all scholars, all analysts, they're all banging their head towards the wall because they never saw that coming. They never saw, look, just Turkey and Iran alone never made sense. You're talking about Sunnis and you're talking about Shiites. This country wants to be the leader of the Shiite world. This country wants to be the leader of the Sunni world. What in the world can bring them together? Now you're talking about the Muslim Brotherhood and Hamas, which is Sunni, together with the Iranian Revolutionary Guard, which is Shiite. Now you're looking at Qatar, which is a Sunni country, but it is actually siding with the Shiite axis. So nothing makes sense over there. But if you're a Bible believer, if you understand what the prophet Ezekiel saw 2,800 years ago, everything makes sense to you. And we're watching that the situation is on steroids. And make no mistake, it will only become more and more intense towards November 3rd. And I want everyone to understand that November 3rd is not only about America. And I know that Americans are watching right now and they're saying, no, these are our elections. No, They may be your elections, but they are affecting the entire world. China will be affected. The Middle East will be affected. Europe is going to be affected. The economies of so many countries will be affected by what is going to happen. And make no mistake, all the enemies of America are waiting to see the Democrats winning. Make no mistake, not even a single good friend of America wants Biden to win, because everybody is watching what's going on in America. Everybody can see that America, if America is becoming a socialist and a communist country, America cannot lead the free world. America cannot be a great economy anymore. America cannot purchase things, buy things, sell things, manufacture things. All is going to collapse. And the world, look, I'm not an American. I'm speaking right now as someone who is observing that from outside. And I can speak on behalf of the people outside. The world is watching. And what you're going to cast in the ballot box on November 3rd is not only going to affect the future of the United States of America, it is going to have a domino effect all around the globe. Make sure you understand that. I want you to know that the verses that came to my mind, really the verses that came to my mind as a result of everything that is happening right now, are from Ephesians chapter 5. Ephesians chapter 5. Let me, again, I prepared everything beforehand, but of course, everything crashed on my computer. That's why we're doing that on my phone right now. But I would like to read that to you, okay? We're talking about walking in wisdom. And I need you to understand, and this is not a threat. This is not a doom and gloom prediction. For the last few nights, I don't sleep. And the verse that the Lord gave me is, of course, verse 15 of chapter 5 of Ephesians. See then that you walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise. Now listen to this. Redeeming the time, because the days are evil. The days are evil. Now, look, we have the greatest hope and the greatest promise ever of not only being victorious in this world, but soon to be out of this world and to be in the presence of Christ and have this amazing bema seat of Christ and have the marriage of the Lamb and, of course, return to reign and rule with him. But I want you to know, folks, until we do that, God is warning us. Walk circumspectly, not as fools, but as wise, redeeming the time, because the days are evil. You know what it means, redeeming the time? The Lord gave you specific number of hours and minutes and seconds and days and months to live in this world. And now, if you don't know him, you're just out there wandering, doing whatever you want and fulfilling your lusts and your dreams and whatever. But once we understand that we have been purchased by him, and now we don't live for us, but we live for him, we have a task. We have a task to tell the world of the one who took us from darkness into his marvelous light. That's to redeem the time, not to fight with one another. Look what he says. Therefore, do not be unwise, but understand what the will of the Lord is, and do not be drunk with wine, in which is dissipation, but be filled with the Spirit, he says, speaking to one another in psalms and hymns and spiritual songs, singing and making melody in your hearts to the Lord. He's not saying sit home and just be afraid. No. And then look what he says, giving thanks always for all things to God the Father in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, submitting to one another in the fear of God. Ladies and gentlemen, the days are evil. Look, I am telling you up front, it's only going to get worse when it comes to, look, not only violence and lawlessness. You know what I just saw? I saw today, and it was supposed to be part of my presentation for you today. And of course, the computer crashed. But I wanted to show you a picture that was taken from the streets of Vancouver, Canada. And I want to show it to you right now. I hope it's going to work here because it's super important. Okay, so let me see if I can actually show it. Okay, there you go. Okay, so I'm gonna, I don't know if you can see it. Okay, but it's a billboard. I don't know if you can see it. It's a billboard, and it says, it's all over Canada right now. The most loving gift you can give your first child is to not have another. It's called oneplanetonechild.org. The most loving thing, they say, you can give to your child is to not have another. Think about it. Think about the evil plan to reduce the population of planet Earth, whether it's through, confusing you about your gender, whether it's telling you that bringing more children to the world is bad, whether it's injecting into your children tons of vaccinations. Some of them may be okay, but many of them absolutely unnecessary. Think about all the things that are happening. Think about releasing a virus from a Wuhan lab to just go and kill as many as they can. Think about the evil things that are being planned in the dark places. And we all know that. We all know, look, if there is one thing that the enemy wants, is to reduce the population. Look, the globalists, they don't even hide it anymore. In the Georgia Guidestones, it says, reduce the population of planet Earth to 500 million. We're almost 9 billion, to 500 million. Look what they say. The best gift you can give to your child is not to have another one. Can you imagine children growing without siblings? And can you imagine that they're promoting it out in the open? Look, it's going to be at your face. It's going to be at our face every day. It's going to get worse and worse and worse. You're going to see how they call evil good, good evil, darkness light, light darkness. We live in evil days. And God is saying to us through his word, it's not even my word, of course, he says, redeem the time. Look, the situation in the Middle East is explosive right now. On one hand, we have peace treaties and we have Israel getting stronger and more secure and safe and prosperous, which is exactly what we need for Ezekiel's prophecy to be fulfilled. Everything is super biblical, but at the same time, it's this mystery of lawlessness that is already at work. And at the same time, we see that spirit of the Antichrist, which is already in this world. And remember, according to 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, he cannot be revealed. Only when the restrainer is taken out of the way, then the lawless one will be revealed. And that brings me to the hope that we have. To soon, as the temple of the Holy Spirit, which is the restrainer, we will soon be taken. Now watch this. Look what's going on right now. I'm looking at the elections in America, and I'm seeing that as a way to tell me whether God is extending more mercies and grace over America. And remember, it's not just America. It will have that ripple effect all around the world, or evil is going to not just be practiced, but to be celebrated and reign in the highest authorities of this planet. And we are going to see that. Now, I don't want to see evil reigning. I don't want to see evil promoted. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, why would God allow a new justice that is so pro-life, that has 7 children, of which 2 are adopted from Haiti? Why is God allowing her now to be on that ticket to the Supreme Court? Are we going to see something going to happen there with Wade versus Roe? Are we going to see a reverse of the legislation that basically legalized abortion in America? Look, think about it. I saw a video of a young girl when she heard that Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away. She screamed, saying, "Oh no, they'll stop abortions right now." The instinct of that girl was, abortion is now on the table. And she even said, I regret for having been born. I should have been aborted. That's how demonic it is over there. So it's interesting because they're actually showing their true intention. They say we need a Democrat there, we need a liberal there, because we want to continue abortion. We want to continue to kill unborn babies. We want to continue that. And so America is on the cusp of either 4 years that will make great things and great opportunities for the whole world. But again, we know that there will be eventually a war of Ezekiel, and the rapture might even be the reason why America is no longer an amazing country. But until then, remember, we need to redeem the time. And what is to redeem the time? Is to vote right, is to do righteousness, is to speak about Jesus, is to promote godly things. That's to redeem the time. It's not to sit home and say, I'm a Christian, therefore God does everything and I just let him do it. No, redeem the time. And if you understand how crucial those elections are going to be, crucial, like never before. It's more crucial than the elections in Israel, make no mistake. It's more crucial than the election in any other country, in Europe or in Arab world, whatever. If you only understand the ripple effect that the elections in the United States are going to make no mistake, the enemy is now is just going wild. And by the way, if Trump is going to win, there's going to be a lot of violence because they will not know what to do with it. I'm not even sure that by November 4th, we'll know who won. They're working right now on preparing the public for at least weeks of uncertainty regarding the results. Why? Because they understand that only by rigging the elections they can win. They understand there is no other chance for them. And what the Democrats understand here, because Joe Biden is the biggest fraud in the history of American politics, the Democrats knows that he's incapable. He knows, by the way, his family knows, the media knows, but all they can do is cover up on it. Kamala Harris just embraced and commended BLM as inspiring, and that all they do is actually part of the necessary evolution of our country, she said just a few days ago. You see where it goes. Ladies and gentlemen, I can tell you, for me, the days are evil, but we need to redeem the time. And we need to do what is biblical and what is right and what is godly. And it has to be said. It has to be said. I'm sorry to tell you, I know that I sound too political, but you don't understand. Whatever happens here will affect my country, will affect the rest of the world. And whatever God is going to do, he will do. Make no mistake. But whatever we need to do, and that's to redeem that time, we need to do. Don't throw it at God and say, he's the one who brings kings and takes them down. No. God gave us free will. And this is why he said to Moses, here I put before you evil and good, life and death. Choose life. It's a choice. If you want to choose life for the unborn, you know what you need to vote. If you want to choose pro-Israel, you know what you need to vote. If you want to choose pro-Christianity, pro-family, pro-freedom, that's what you need to do. So to me, part of redeeming the time is doing what's right and what's godly and what's important. We are to be the light of the world. We are to be the salt of the earth. How can we contribute to the decomposition of this, for the complete collapse of the world, and not be the slowing factor of it, which is exactly what the salt is doing? So I want to urge you to pray for the restrainer to restrain, to continue to restrain until the time is redeemed and we're taken out of here. We've got that promise, don't we? All we need to do is to walk in it. Walk by faith, not by sight. Hold on to the promises that we have. Redeem our time and to choose what is of God. Father, I thank you so much that you love your children, that you gave us instructions in your word, how to live in these days that are so evil. And now I pray that everybody that is watching right now, you will just shake them and stir their hearts and cause them to understand that we need to redeem our time. It's no longer time to party and to just play Christianity. This is it. You kept reminding us through the Olivet Discourse that not everyone that calls you Lord, Lord is going to be saved. So, Father, I ask that you will find us faithful all the way to the end. Those who endure, you will give them that crown. And you will keep them out of the hour of trial that is going to come upon those who are on this earth. Out of, not through. Thank you that we are not destined to your wrath. Thank you that soon we're going to all change in a twinkling of an eye, and we're going to be taken to be with you. And until then, we want to occupy, we want to conquer, and we want to redeem the time. We thank you and we bless you in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. Thank you. I love you. God bless you. Take those words, spread them, share as much as you can. I'm sorry it wasn't as polished as I hoped it will be, with maps and pictures and videos, but God had a different plan, and I needed to turn on the phone, turn on the light, and just do it. Maybe it's even better. Thank you. I love you. God bless you. Pray for me for the remainder of the time here, and of course, safe flight back home. Thank you again. God bless you. Shalom from Miami, Florida. Bye-bye.